Dr. Christina, President of ELA, Professors Ashwin, Professor Sweetie, Professor Geethana from the Department of Physics, Dr. Lindsay, the Staff Advisor of Loyola Folio Society, and dear students, good afternoon to one and all present here. So as Chopin was giving the welcome speech, I think in between he was struck, he said, kindles emotions, kindles emotions, kindles emotions. I think that's what book reading is all about. It kindles your emotions. It not only appeals to your emotions but also to your reason. I would like to begin with a very important incident that happened in the year 1950. In America, there was a woman by the name Estelle Doheny. She was a billionaire philanthropist and she was in quest of a book for almost 40 years. In 1950, she was able to find that book. She purchased that book in an auction. And when she opened the book, there was a number that was inscribed on that book. It was number 45. Can you guess the current market value of that book? Any idea about the current market value of that? It's 50 crores. One single copy of that book costs 50 crores. And why that book? That was one of the first books printed by Johannes Gutenberg in 1455. Johannes Gutenberg printed 50 books, and in each book, in the first page of that book, he gave a number. And this book's number was number 45. As of now, 49 books are present all over the world, and there is a very big treasure hunt going on to acquire that book. In case in your own library, if you are able to find that Bible with a number, don't throw it away. There is a pretty good chance that you might be owning one of the original Bibles printed by Johannes Gutenberg. The very word Bible means book. A person who loves to read books is called as a bibliophile. Because in Greek, biblio means book. Not only in Greek, not only in Roman, but also in Tamil, there was a great love for books. In fact, the different words for books in Tamil are Panuval, Suvadi, Nool, and of course Puttagam. Puttagam comes from the Tamil word Puttagam, which means a bundle of palm leaves, manuscripts. Thiruvalluvar in one of the Kural says, Ennanba, Yene Edithanba, Pirandum Kannanba Vazhum Uyirku. But all there are two eyes to living people. One is numbers, the other one is words. And how do you acquire these two eyes? By reading books. Books are the portals to new world. In fact, Puttagam leads to Pudiyagam. It opens a gateway to a new inner world. Without books, you cannot acquire mastery in any discipline. I would like to mention some of the disciplines that we want to master and how in each disciplines there are some touchstone books, cornerstone books. To start with, philosophy. The very word philosophy can be split into two words, philos, which means love, and sophos or sophia, which means wisdom. You want to acquire some basic knowledge about philosophy, you start with Plato's Republic. Then maybe you read Aristotle's Nicomachean and Ethics. Or you go to the Enlightenment period and then read Immanuel Kant's Critique of Pure Reason. And philosophy gives meaning to your life. It explains the very reason of your existence. And then you wonder, okay, I'm done with philosophy. I want to know something about psychology. And you start with Sigmund Freud's interpretation of dreams. Or of late, after Sigmund Freud, we had people like Carl Jung, Viktor Frankl, Jacques Lacan. And in 2011, there was another writer who contributed something to psychology. That was Daniel Kahneman, who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. Thinking Fast and Slow is again one of the cornerstone books in the field of psychology. Now you may wonder, okay, I mastered these two disciplines. What about economics? You want to know about the basic structure of Western economy, that is the capitalism. You read Adam Smith's Wealth of the Nations. He is called as father of capitalism. And to counter that philosophy, there is another writer who comes, Karl Marx, who writes, Das Kapital, and who writes Communist Manifesto along with Friedrich Engels. So you have books not only pave way for economy, it also prepare the fertile ground for political ideologies. The entire world as of now can be divided into left and right wing. And if at all you just trace back the origin of these two ideologies, books paved way for these two ideologies. And maybe, you say, I mastered economics. What about other disciplines? You start with science. They say there are three apples that decided the future of mankind, or the course of mankind. The first one was the religious apple. The apple that was eaten by Eve and Adam. The The second one was the scientific apple, the apple that fell on the head of Isaac Newton. The third one is the technological apple, the apple that was invented by Steve Jobs. And in science, in natural sciences, for example, Charles Darwin's Origin of Species, it changed the very course of mankind. It questioned the religious beliefs, and in fact, it established the scientific temper among the people. And then you want to know something about astronomy, about space. You read Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time. Or maybe you read physicists like, for example, there is one eminent physicist who is known for his sense of humor. Richard Feynman. Richard Feynman's lectures, for the common people. Okay, you read such books and you get inspired. You want to know more about science. Then you wonder, sir, I am done with science. I want to know something about self-help. Maybe you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was in the concentration camp for 5 years, the Nazi concentration camp. The moment he was released from the camp, he invented a technique called logotherapy. By using words, he offered treatment to thousands of patients who suffer due to mental disorders. And he, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, says life is potentially meaningful under any circumstances. He issues a strict warning against suicidal ideation. He says try to find meaning in your life, whatever might be the situation. Then probably, you think you want to know something about management, about how to lead an organized life. You have James Clear's Atomic Habits or Carl Newport's Deep Work. These books, in fact, they teach something very simple, but it stays with you for a longer time. In fact, they say the very word habit is very powerful because you just remove H from habit, a bit remains. You remove A, bit remains. You remove B, it remains. And these books teach you how habits are very powerful in your life. Okay. Then you want to read something about spirituality. Probably you could read A Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley, who compiles the mystics from all religions and who explains about the various manifestations of spirituality. Maybe you want to read about contemporary spirituality. We have Eckhart Tolle, the German mystic, who wrote Stillness Speaks and New Earth. Okay, then you say, I read all science, spirituality, self-help. What about history? Okay, maybe if you want to know about how human civilization emerged, maybe you start reading Will Durant's Lessons of History. Okay, and not only that, the modern day historian Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens that offers fresh perspectives on human evolution. And you want to know something about how human beings, in spite of so many negativities, are able to survive. You read Rutger Bregman's Humankind, a Hopeful History that offers interesting perspectives about how empathetic we are. Okay, all is not lost for human beings. Then you wonder, okay, I want to know something about travelogues. You have books like The Travels of Marco Polo by the Venetian traveler Marco Polo. His experiences in the courts of Kublai Khan. The court of Kublai Khan is beautifully documented in that book. Then you want to read something about Che Guevara. His motorcycle diaries is again a travelogue, which is not only a travelogue but also a political document. Okay. Then again, when I come at last to literature, since most of you are literature students, see, literature, the very soul of literature is books. Maybe you want to know about alienation, about how to understand the human mind. You read a Russian writer like Fyodor Dostoevsky, his Crime and Punishment or his White Knights. Or you want to know something about unconditional love, you read Khalil Gibran's Broken Wings, how he writes love poems to Salma Karami. See, each book is like a portal to a new world. That's why George R.R. Martin says, a reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies, and a person who doesn't read lives but only once. And not only that, the more you read, the more you will know, and the more you will learn, the more places you will go. Remember this. Maybe at this point of time in your student days, if you start reading a book, in 10 years from now, probably you'll be in a different place altogether. Because they say it is your attitude, not your aptitude, that decides your altitude. And book reading will definitely change your attitude. So all the best to you, and thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.